Hello, y'all. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's edition of Let 'em Run. I promise studio upgrades are also coming, but the information tonight is going to be hot. We'll be looking at Gulfstream Park for this Saturday, March 1st, where there is a huge Derby prep race, the Fountain of Youth, which is one of the races we'll be covering. I'm going to be talking about races 9 through 14. And tonight, what I'm going to do is look at one horse in particular in each race that we here at Let 'em Run have our eye on. On Saturday at 10:45, Sean Miller and myself will then review and recap each of those races with a little more in-depth information, because, of course, then the scratches will be out, and that certainly can make a difference, as all our handicapping people know. That can change the complexity and the complexion of the race, and that often happens in a way that can make a big difference when you decide to do your pick. So I'm going to also make a comment on a horse in the ninth race, which is not part of the pick five. What's interesting about this pick five, the late pick five at Gulfstream on Saturday, is it's an all stakes pick five, which is really great. You can certainly take a look at the horses and figure out more patterns. Obviously, when there are maiden special weights and maiden claiming races, they also add intrigue and challenges and can also make a pick five uh, even a greater payout. But these are five very good stakes races in the late pick five, starting with race 10. However, a race that I also am going to make a comment on, and again, each race I'll pick one horse that I'm going to make a comment at, is race 9, which is mile and 16th on turf, the Canadian turf. It's a grade 3 race. And the horse that I'm going to look at is the number 5 horse, Silent Heart, being ridden by Luis Saez, who's been on him the last time when the horse won in an optional claiming 75. Certainly, he is stepping up in class, which is certainly going to be a challenge. But I think the horse is up for the challenge. He's 3 for 5 at Gulfstream Park, 1 for 2 at the distance. He has a 118 early pace speed form, US speed form figure, highest in the field. He won last out at a mile with a 98 buyer speed figure, which is one of the highest, if not the highest, in the field. And I think he's going to take a step forward for Brian Lynch. His last workout on February 21st at 57 seconds certainly gives me the idea and the impression that he is going to certainly go to the lead and have a good chance to win again. And Brian Lynch also is 27% when a horse won the last start. That's another positive aspect of why I like the number 5, Silent Heart, in the 9th race at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. So let's go to the 10th race, which is the very one stakes race, a mile and 3/8, a marathon turf race, which I absolutely love these races. I think they're great to watch. They certainly offer some interesting value in some of the horses you might look at. This race is a grade 3 race, and it is, again, run on turf. The horse I'm going to look at the most here is the number 5 horse, Beach Bomb. And he is being ridden by Luis Saez again. So you can see I'm kind of leaning a little bit towards Luis Saez here. Not a bad thing. His last race out was in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf, where he ran with probably, she ran with probably the two of the best milers, marathoners in the country. Mora, who ran first in that last race, and Didia, who ran third. The horse finished a very distant 8th in the race, put up a very good buyer of 94, ran out of the 10th hole, which is a tough spot. This time he's in the 5th hole with Luis Saez on him. Class, running out of the grade 1 race the last time. The race before was a grade 2 race. Ran very well in that race. The change to Luis Saez is a very big positive. He's also the number 1 prime power regarding distance, turf, breeding, etc. So I like the number 5 at a price. He's 5-1. I'm going to use him for certain in many of the vertical bets that I make and any other bets I make. So that's the number 5 in race 10. The 11th race is a one-turn mile at Gulfstream Park. And the horse in this race that clearly is the class of the field is number 1, Mindframe, ridden by Irad Ortiz. He's won 2 races and came in second twice. Guess who he lost to in both of those races? Dornick. One of my favorite horses, one of the best horses that we have had in the last 2 years. Has lots of grade 1 wins under his belt. Both of those races were grade 1 races. This is a grade 2, and it's a 1 mile race, and it is a one-turn race. If you look back to what this horse did at Gulfstream Park, this is his second time racing at Gulfstream Park. Back in March 30th of 2024, he ran 7 furlongs at Gulfstream Park in a field of 11 horses, put up a 103 buyer, and won by 13 lengths. 13 lengths at a one-turn, 7 furlongs. Again, this is 1 mile, but they were both one-turn races. That was the last time he raced at Gulfstream Park. His odds are going to, well, his morning line is 1-1. He's certainly going to go off at something more in the neighborhood of 3-5 or 1-5. You're not going to get value on the horse in terms of betting him to win. But if you're looking, which is what I am looking at, to have him as a single in your vertical bets, he basically becomes like a free space, if you will. And certainly I think is a very strong horse, going to be tough to beat. The only horse that may be worth taking a look at, but I don't think is going to make a big impact on this horse, on this race, is the number 3 Encino. Again, probably the speed of the speed. Certainly the one horse has speed as well, but certainly is a little bit of a presser kind as well. The number 3 Encino is 4 for 5. Certainly stepping up in class here. The jockey switch to Luis Saez again is also an impact, because when Brad Cox puts Saez on a horse, done it 10 times at Gulfstream Park, and he wins at 40%. So I look at that as another positive, but I just think the number 1 Mindframe is just too good to be beat. Another interesting fact here with this race is that he may get a little pressure, which is fine, from some other horses that are kind of sprinters who might put some pressure, but I think that helps Mindframe even more. He's just going to sit up in the top 3 horses, if not the second horse. And when the time comes and they come turning for home, I do not see this horse getting beat. Certainly, that horse is a horse that you want to look at very strongly as a single in any of your vertical bets, or using him in exactas and trifectas and keying him in the second, third, and fourth spots with other horses. I think that's the way you're going to get value there. The next race is the 12th race at Gulfstream Park, a 1 mile turf race, the Honey Fox Grade 3 race. In this race, I have a horse that I very much like quite a bit. The number 8 horse is Special Wan, W-A-N. Ireland bred horse, being ridden again by Luis Saez. So you're catching a theme here, and that's absolutely correct. This horse ran in a grade 1 race last. I'm sorry. He is my second choice. My first choice is In Our Time. The 8 horse, I apologize for that. The 8 horse In Our Time, being ridden by Edward Gonzalez, trained by Joseph Safi. I believe this horse is by far the speed of the speed in the race. He certainly has demonstrated that at longer. The last 3 races were 1 mile and 16th, and he certainly was up front each time in those races. The race was a little too long for him, and he ran out, except for the third back race. He did win. And each of those races, if it's interesting to note as well, the number 8 horse In Our Time was in the 10 slot, which is a little tough slot to be in, but he still ran a fantastic race. So now he's in the 8 hole. Perhaps another scratch or 2 might get him a little closer, and I think that really enhances his chances. His morning line is 7-2. I would take fair value for him at 2-1 or 3-1. I certainly would look to make him a big part of any of my vertical bets and use him in some exactas. And certainly, depending on where his odds fall, I am anticipating putting a pretty large win bet on him. I think he's the speed of the speed in the race. I really don't. When you look through the past performances of all the horses in this race, I really don't see any other speed. I love the fact that he's shortening up from a mile and the 16th to a mile. Gonzalez knows the horse very well. In fact, the last 3 times Gonzalez has been on him, he has taken this horse to the lead easily. He's done some decent fractions to start, 46, 47. So that horse is one of my picks of the day. I'm going to call him in reference to one of my main guys who I love, used to reading Brian Mulligan's Closer Looks in Daily Racing Form. He's definitely going to be a lookout bet. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the other horses in the race, including Special One, which I alluded to a little earlier. Okay, let's get to the big daddy on Saturday. The Fountain of Youth, Grade 2, springboard to the Kentucky Derby. 50 Derby points on the line for the winner. Certainly would appear to seem to be a win and you're in type race. It's good field. Currently, there are 8 horses entered in the field as of now. There are 2 horses that are entered in some allowance races, also entered in cross entered. The 5 horse who is cross entered in the race looks like he may come out of this race. It's possible. And there is also another horse cross entered as well. But we'll see. The field looks to be set, but that may be a factor. The horse I really like in this race quite a bit is the number 1 horse, Gate to Wire, being ridden by Dylan Davis, also trained by Todd Pletcher, who won this race, the Fountain of Youth, last year with Forte. So he does know a little bit about how to get a horse prepared for this race. This is his 3rd start off the layoff. Dylan Davis won with him last time, 7 furlongs, won impressively by 5 lengths, looked very professional in that race if you look at the replays. And I also think he has plenty left to give. But yes, he is stretching out to a mile and 16th on Saturday. I certainly think his breeding does not suggest that he will have any difficulty with the distance. This is a quality race with some quality horses in it, and I certainly think this horse, Gate to Wire, has a tremendous chance to win. I love his odds at 6-1. Burnham Square certainly looks to be the favorite along with River Thames. Can't deny those 2 horses a shot to win, but I just think this horse has not reached his peak yet. And I think 3rd off the layoff, Dylan Davis, one of the best jockeys around, certainly has been riding very well. Stays on him for Todd Pletcher. And I think, this horse has a big chance to take this field, take this home and get a win and certainly get in very likely into the Kentucky Derby. It's going to be a great race. The weather currently down in Hallandale Beach looks to be nice and warm and sunny and dry, so everything should be fast and firm, and that really makes everything even more exciting to watch when you can handicap your races, and certainly if it does happen to rain in some other place when it happens, you have to change your dynamics of what you look at, and that can be a good thing, but it's not going to happen Saturday. Saturday looks to be a very good race and good weather. So that's the 13th. Again, Gate to Wire, currently at 6-1 morning line. Dylan Davis, Todd Pletcher, love that horse. I hope he stays in the neighborhood of 5 to 6-1, which is likely with the 2 horses that everyone is going to migrate to, Burnham Square and River Thames. So we'll see how that shapes out. Okay, the last race in the Pick 5 sequence is the 14th race, another stakes race. The Mac Diarmida stakes race, a Grade 2, another marathon race. Love those marathon races where, again, lots of excitement. You watch these races go off and I've seen horses take a 20-length lead and barely hold on. I've seen horses take a 20-length lead and give it up after the second turn. So it's good to watch. The horse that I am most excited about in this race is an interesting horse in terms that he's got a tough post, and his morning line is 8-1. There's some quality racehorses in this field. Cathkin Peak is an Ireland-bred horse that has run just once at this distance, put up a good buyer at this distance, last out a 96 buyer. He certainly would appear to be the speed of the speed in the race. We'll find that out certainly on Saturday. I know it's a tough post. He certainly has enough class to be in with this field. One of the reasons I like this horse is because Paco Lopez is on him. As you know, if you follow racing, you know Paco Lopez was suspended a couple months ago for some time. He's been coming back and riding lights out. It was at Parks yesterday and won like 7 races. I know Parks is not Gulfstream. Parks is not, graded stakes racing, but he just is really on fire. I think he's very much looking to get back into the mix as being one of the best jockeys there is. And I think this gives him a good chance to do it. So it's a mile and 3/8. It's a mile and 3/8. Yep. The last time out was a mile and a half, and he put up a 96 buyer. He really put up some very good fractions in those races. So I think, he has a good chance. His chances will improve, I think, significantly if he gets a couple scratches, which may happen. We'll have to keep an eye on that on Saturday morning. So again, in the 14th race, I really like as the shot, the 11 horse Cathkin Peak Ireland bred being ridden by Paco Lopez and going off currently at 8-1. So those are some early looks at the races for Saturday. My partner Sean, the Genius Miller, will be with me at 10:45 on Saturday to relook at these races, see what things have happened with the scratches, and then decide if there's any changes we want to make. Excuse me. And that certainly can make a big difference. So thank you for viewing. Remember, Saturday, 10:45, Let 'em Run will be on our podcast again with my partner, Sean Miller, breaking down these races a little further. And good luck to everyone. Have a great night. Look forward to seeing you all Saturday. Handicap well, make your picks, and good luck.